In a world of Johnnies, Timmies, and Spikes, we must all arrive at the win condition.
What isn't coming out on the 17th? Probably your mom.
This thing is just teeming with Planeswalker value.
I could put Itlamok where Itlamok is on the mat. I mean, even the non-energy decks were playing with energy.
Hello again and welcome back to another edition of the Win Condition Podcast, where we talk all things Magic the Gathering. My name is Sean, I'm your host. I'm joined with my co-host here, Greg. How's it going, Greg?
Doing good. How's it going for you?
Oh, it's going awesome.
Awesome.
It's actually going really awesome. We've got a lot of great stuff to talk about. A lot of excitement. And what?
And rant.
And rant, yes. Yeah. We got a lot of things for you guys today, and why don't we? Actually, you know what? Why don't we start off with how our week's been going? Greg, how has your week been going?
I took a day off of work and spent it with my girlfriend, so it's been pretty good.
Ooh, days off work are always good.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Well, my week was interesting. We had club volleyball tryouts, and my daughter went out for this club, and the initial team she tried out for didn't really happen, but she got put on a different team, and everything's looking really good. It's looking solid, so I'm very excited about that. Having coached her last year, I'm also super excited about the fact that her high school team is going on to the Valley Championships this next weekend. So kudos to that. That's kind of been the focus for me this last week. But yeah, let's move on to some more Magic related stuff here. Like the fact that you can get your Magic singles and sealed product from Flipside Gaming at flipsidegaming.com. Be sure to check them out and use that promo code WINCONDITION in all caps to save 10% off of your purchase of $10 or more, which will help contribute to future show giveaways. And, as we always do with our news and announcements, let's head into As Foretold.
Wait, that's Twilight Zone.
Right. Well, was the Twilight Zone foretold?
Wait, are we going to record on April 1st next year?
Ooh.
Talk
Stay
about
tuned for
Pokemon.
some April Fool's jokes. But anyway, top of the list. I think a lot of people are very excited and interested about it. The new From the Vault series, From the Vault Transform. Greg.
Oh, man. That's informative.
Right. Okay, so initially they were like From the Vault Transform. What could they possibly put in? Well, we knew it was going to be Delver, or we had a good idea it was going to be Delver.
I think everybody was talking. It was only going to be Innistrad cards. And then people are like, oh, there's the Origins cards too. And now we also have the Ixalan cards. But some of these choices are good. Some of them a little questionable. And of course, why on some of them? Like, I think the Gisela Brunella
Brizella.
That is a sweet reprint in there to get foil, especially in that FTV.
Yep.
But something like Argel's Bloodfast?
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of upset about the fact we're not getting alternate arts in those flip walkers. We're only getting it in the original Innistrad cards.
Well, it's funny you say the flip walkers, because a lot of people were speculating on whether or not Jace Vryn's Prodigy was going to be in the set. And I know when they released the picture of the actual product and they saw Liliana Heretical Healer on the front, they were like, oh, that's too bad. If Jace were in this product, he would be in the front. So darn it, guess Jace isn't. Well, guess what? He is! As well as Gideon, Chandra, Nissa, and
Karuk?
There you go.
Oh, don't forget about Arlen Cord.
Yep, and
If
it's
you like your planeswalkers, you get 7 of them.
yep. This thing is just teeming with planeswalker value, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean not just planeswalker value. I mean you're getting
There's some demons too.
yeah, you're getting Elbrus the Binding Blade.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting
Bloodline Keeper. Ooh.
Bloodline Keeper. You're
Talk
getting
about a
that
cube card.
yeah, you're getting that sweet, sweet new art on Huntmaster of the Fells.
Mm-hmm.
It's it seriously looks just like the exact kind of from the vault product that you would come to expect. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's value, it's cards that were good in their time, very popular, and people want them.
Yep.
So
And it's even better because they're foil.
exactly,
Even if FTV is not a great foiling process, but hey, that's neither here nor there.
it's an opportunity for us to get our hands on these cards that are so good and they're foil. So,
Yeah.
like you said, cubes love it, EDH players love it. Yeah, just a win-win. So, um,
And
awesome job.
then, I mean,
Yes.
if that's
Yes.
that's coming out next Friday.
Is it already next Friday?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the 17th, which also gives us Iconic Masters and Justice League and Pokemon and I don't
And the
know what
new-
else comes out.
The
Everything?
new Game Nights episode?
Jeez, I mean, what isn't coming out on the 17th? Probably your mom.
Well, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
But what we are getting is on Black or no, wait, no,
No,
we're
this is
skipping
a
ahead
Black
here.
Friday promo.
Not yet, not yet,
Not yet?
not yet. That's
Oh, wait,
in
are we
weeks
going to talk
follow.
about how we've got Explorers of Ixalan on the 24th?
Jeez, what are they doing? Why are they teasing my wallet like this? I can't even keep up with all
Did
this
you
stuff.
see the deck lists on those?
Dude, there are some really, really, really amazing reprints in this.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that it's a standalone board game that you can play with friends, bring them over and play. Aside from that, these decks are teeming with good cards.
And good reprints.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
that Zealous Persecution with new art. Oh,
Yes.
I just hope that gets printed in Rivals. Could you imagine that being printed in Rivals?
There's a lot of speculation of cards that could get printed in Rivals of Ixalan, and I'm very curious to see how it goes down. I'm not going to go ahead and make any crazy accusations like the fact that Ancient Ziggurat is now $12, but Ancient Ziggurat seems like a good card to be playing in a tribal set. We did get Unclaimed Territory, which
is good.
is a fantastic card. We're not going to be getting a Cavern of Souls, but I think that you know yeah we're getting a Silvergill Adept, we're getting the Galta, and we're getting it's going to be great.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
There's going to be a lot of good stuff in this, and as we move through the year, do you know what else we start getting next week?
What do we get next week?
Starting on Monday the 13th, Unstable. We're going to start seeing the cards for that.
Preview season.
Oh, yeah.
Unstable.
Who's
Get ready for some
excited?
craziness.
I am excited for that.
As well as the speculation of cards that are going to be black border playable or printable. That's exciting.
Yeah.
As well as contraptions. That's exciting.
Did you notice that the Sun Empire Dex has a Path to Exile in it?
Wait, what? In
So
the Explorers of Ixalan?
Yeah.
No, I did not notice that.
There's a Path to Exile.
That's more value. Right there. That's wonderful.
And
What
an
was that?
aggravated assault.
What was that one that you said needed a reprint? Or that
Shared Animosity?
Shared Animosity?
Yeah, that one's getting the reprint in there. It's pretty good.
Yeah. No, that seems like a very, very fun product to get. especially when you're trying to get people involved in Magic, if they've played something like Settlers of Catan or even
Oh, yeah.
Monopoly or some board game that's very intense and complicated, takes a while to do. Would be a great opportunity to introduce people to the world of Magic the
Magic.
Gathering. So
Definitely.
very, very exciting product there. But let's go ahead and
Sorry.
fast forward to Black Friday. Um, they are
Oh.
really, really pushing the box sales at your
Yeah,
local
they are.
game stores. It's almost like in response to these big box stores getting the 3 for 10 deal. Yes, you can go to Target and get 3 booster packs for $10 now. There's this deal going on, but you know, you can also make it out to your local game store on Black Friday. Greg, what can you get when you head out to your local game
So
store on Black
they're
Friday?
doing a special promotional buy a box promo pack, and it is the Ixalan treasure chest. So this is going to have 2 premium foil cards from any standard legal set, 4 rare or mythic rare cards from a standard legal set. Oh, I got to remind you, the 2 premium foils can be masterpieces. Ugh. 2 premium foil basic lands. Now those are the
Rebecca Gay arts, yes.
thank you, and then 1 alternate art premium foil double faced card from Ixalan. Yes, that's right. It'll
Yes.
be one of the 10 two-sided cards. So what's really cool about these is that the front is the original art from the card, but the back is actually a piece of the map of Ixalan showing you where it actually is.
And this is the only place that you can get these cards.
Yeah, this is the only place you can get them unless somebody has them and you're buying them off them, but that's no effective way to buy. But
Right.
they are foil, they are standard foiling, and they look beautiful. I don't know if you watched that stream the other day where they opened a pack of this, but whew, I need some. I feel like a horrible person, and I like my foils. So
When you have your playmat, your Ixalan map playmat that you won from,
well, I mean,
standard.
remember that's not until the end of December.
Right, but as you're holding that and you're holding these flip cards with the map, just think of Greg and how much he wants them. You may make the trade.
Dude, I could put Itlamok where Itlamok is on the mat.
Whenever you play the card, you must position it on the map where it's located.
That's
That
so
seems
cool. That's
like
cool.
a flavor win to the max. Yeah.
Tasty.
Yeah.
So,
So, if you are fortunate enough to make it to your local game store on Black Friday and pick up a box of Ixalan, you will get this treasure chest pack
yeah.
with a whole bunch of wonderful goodies in it. So go for it. Get out there, get those boxes. So moving on to our next point. So haven't watched Pro Tour Ixalan, which we'll get to much more in depth later. There was a point that was brought up, especially in chat, that there was a ton of viewership. There were lots of viewers. I think it actually peaked around Saturday night when there was a little over 30,000 people watching, which was amazing. It's great. It exposes the game to a whole bunch of people, and people are very interested in watching Magic, specifically Pro Tour Ixalan.
hmm
So what we were thinking about was, and this actually came as inspiration listening to the Tryhards. If you listen to MTG Cast, you can definitely listen to the Tryhards. Those guys are awesome. Check them out. They mentioned something about Dungeons and Dragons and how there is a stream on Thursday nights called Critical Role. And it is a bunch of people playing Dungeons and Dragons, a bunch of voice actors. Now, this has been going on for how many years,
I
Greg?
think they're on like their 3rd year now.
About their 3rd year. Okay. And Dungeons and Dragons is, it's a little older than Magic. It's been around a little over 10 years longer than Magic has.
Yeah.
But you're still existing in that fantasy realm. But the bottom line is, this show, Critical Role, every Thursday night. When we watched it tonight, this is Thursday, it topped out around 16,000 viewers at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you watch Magic, any people streaming Magic throughout the course of the week, save Pro Tours and World Championships, um, you probably get somewhere in the realm of a couple thousand at most.
Wait a
I mean,
minute.
I
I
I
I
watched
thought Magic was a game of playing with people.
right,
So,
right,
don't you think most of these people are off at their local game store playing?
true, true. No, that is a good point. I know a lot of stores offer events such as Standard or Modern or even
Mhm.
Legacy, day by day throughout the week, as well as drafting and all
Now,
that other stuff.
another point about that is that a lot of these stores, they're probably watching Twitch of other people playing. So you may have 20 or 30 people in a store watching while they're also playing. So that's just one viewer for a bunch of people.
True, true. Um, and then
Yeah.
if you watch certain other, pros play on Twitch, like, Todd Stevens, I know I like to watch
Paul Cheon?
Connolly Woods. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You're gonna get viewership, in the high hundreds, maybe even thousands. Newmont especially gets, quite a few.
Hmm.
But what they're lacking, it seems, is uh, not only the consistency of something like Critical Role, which is every Thursday night. I mean, you can plan on watching it. A lot of the same people probably show up week in, week out. But what you're also missing is the fact that Dungeons and Dragons is much more of a personality-based game versus Magic the Gathering, which is a much more a results-based game. You watch to see performance. There is interaction between the player and the audience, but it's usually just the one person as well as the people watching. Um, so what we feel might be necessary in a way to sort of promote watching Magic on stream would be a program that exists on a weekly basis that involves um, people playing Magic. You get to know these people, you get to watch them week in, week out, and you get to develop a relationship with them. Now, we've seen this in a very, very well done fashion in the YouTube series Game Nights, put on by Command Zone. Um, they get several hundreds of thousands of views on this show. Especially the longer it's been out, the more people watch it. But it's definitely a large production to do. Um, you have
Hmm.
the concept of you have your game with your cards, and then you have your interaction with your players. Whereas with Dungeons and Dragons, you're constantly watching these people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, is it feasible, Greg, to have a weekly streaming show put on maybe even by Wizards of the Coast that involves a group of people playing a multiplayer game like Commander or I know the VSL League has in the realm of a couple maybe thousand viewers.
You
But
know, so yeah, I think they could. And you know what? I think it would be a really, really kind of neat idea. Um, what if Wizards did have their own video event where they'd get to weekly, and each week they played decks that focused on the storyline of that week. So, say
Yeah,
for instance, maybe having the race to Arozka, and it has Huatley, and it has Tashana, and it has Jace and Vraska all kind of racing together. And I mean, sure, you don't have an Ongroth, but you have Ongroth's Marauders, and they get to talk about what these different characters are going through to get there. With like breaches and the enchantment that allows you to sack creatures. Sure, that'd
cards
be
and
in there.
ale, cards and ale.
So they could play the decks that focus on the story and play through that. Now, of course, that's up to them as content providers, but I definitely think there could be something out there that works with that. And I think their focus should be with the story more so than with the spiky players. Because You get your GPs, your PTs, your PTQs, your RPTQs, and so many of those events that get televised every weekend, every other weekend. You get to see those, and that pretty much fulfills all those spikes, but the Vorthoses get nothing.
Right. Right, because you have your content that's being streamed on Twitch that's
Mm-hmm.
mostly, like you said, spiky players trying to win games. Even if it's with random brews, they're
Yeah.
still just, playing Magic and sitting there and trying to win games. Whereas if you actually had more of a either interactivity with
Mm-hmm.
multiple people, or like you said, a storyline that they were trying to follow, something just a little bit more compelling than sitting there watching somebody play the game,
Yeah.
you might be able to develop a little bit more of a viewership and a little bit more of a following, and especially would appeal to more casual players. I mean, isn't that the larger chunk of Magic players is the casual crowd?
Something like 75%.
Exactly, and that's not to say that there's lots of people watching these streams trying to get better, trying to learn new technology, new decks, and all this other stuff. But yeah, I think there's definitely a market out there for some sort of a show that would showcase Magic on a less spiky level that would get people, even more involved with the game, the lore. Um, I think that would be a great addition to something that
Yeah.
Wizards might be able to put on. Um, it would be a huge production, a huge undertaking, but I think that would do great things for the development and exposure of the game on multiple levels.
Well,
You
I
know,
mean, we talked about this briefly, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. Um, but Duels of the Planeswalkers was a great outlet for this for a long time because the
yes,
most recent one, Magic Duels, has a story mode, and you get decks that you play against that are themed, that are things that happen in the story.
yes,
Now, could you imagine that they did something like that where not only you got to watch it, but it had animations that were relevant to the story or showed off different aspects of the story and kind of tied you into it? I mean, I've loved listening to Uncharted Realms for quite some time. I didn't like the fact that it was later, but
you mean
or
Unspoken
Unspoken
Realms?
Realms. Thank
Yeah,
you.
there you go. Yeah,
Not Uncharted Realms, that's a card. And it's really good to listen to it because it allows you to be drawn into it more instead of just reading.
right,
And for those of us that don't have a great imagination, it's really cool to be able to watch it come to life in front of you.
right, right.
So,
But kind of full circle, coming back, the fact that the Pro Tour Ixalan did get over 30,000 viewers the Saturday night, which was between rounds 14 and 16, really means that there are people out there who are interested in watching
yes.
Magic the Gathering, which is very, very exciting for the growth of the game. Um, so
The
we definitely.
anticipated esports play of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, with the announcements of Arena and all this other stuff, there's a lot of a digital presence that the Magic is getting ready to focus on moving
Yeah.
forward. So that's all just very exciting news, and can't wait to see what's in store for us in the near future. I mean, this next year is going to be a gigantic tell for where Wizards heads at in terms of the digital
The future.
presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I know we talked about briefly like putting, eventually moving things like GPs or even World Championships to a digital front with the advent of Magic Arena.
Yeah.
And it may seem silly, but it definitely could happen. I mean, everything's moving towards digital. Magic
Uh,
is trying to keep with the times. Hasbro is trying to keep with the times. So
You know
we'll
what?
see.
I think they want to move to have it there, but I still think they're going to keep it as paper.
Right. But this last week, and you actually mentioned this to me, there was another stream that Magic put on where there was actual gameplay
Mm-hmm.
of MTG Arena. And they were playing cards from Shadows over Innistrad.
Yeah, it was
That
kind of
says
cool.
something. That says that they are willing to go back with Arena.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not going to just be Ixalan forward. That means that it may eventually incorporate Modern as a
Oh
player
yeah.
base. That also means it may incorporate Legacy as a
I
format.
actually expect Legacy and Vintage to become a healthy format in that, because if you actually look on like MTGO, Legacy and Vintage is not an expensive format to play in.
Right. And you
Because
can
there's
actually get
no
dual
payout,
lands.
and you can play with duels, and you can play with your mana drains and your force of wills and everything you want. The only problem is that it is such an intensive way to play the game. You're clicking every half second, and
Yeah.
it's like, come on, I
Yeah.
just want to play. And it's not as enjoyable as playing in paper. And
Right.
we know that Arena is their chance. They're trying to get into playing Magic on a digital front that feels more like you're playing it in person,
Yeah.
because that is the issue.
So, I mean, there's. Do you remember when? I mean, do you ever have the original Nintendo, or even the Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
Okay. And you remember when they
Actually, I've got a
stopped making?
Super Nintendo in my closet.
There you go. Yeah, and I'm actually looking at my Super Nintendo right now here in my office. But what I'm eventually getting at here is things change. You know, things evolve, things adapt. They stopped making games for Nintendo. They stopped making games for Super Nintendo. And this transition between MTGO and MTG Arena, like
Mm-hmm.
you can sugarcoat it however you want, but I genuinely believe that we've seen with the reserved list and all this other stuff, like Wizards really owes you nothing.
Oh no.
So if you were to expect that you're going to get some kind of a thank you for playing MTGO and transition into MTG Arena, I don't see it. I literally see them moving completely from one platform to another, and thanks for playing MTGO.
Start
I,
buying
I
anew.
I know I hate to say it, but it's one of those things like you've
But hey,
invested in video.
here's something of interest, a little bit of an odd fact. You know the Dreamcast, right?
Yeah.
Did
Oh
you
yeah.
know that people are still making new games for it?
That I can believe because that's a disc-based system, and you can pretty much craft games on a
Mm-hmm.
disc that are made to be played for a certain format. Yes, yeah, no, I get that.
So, being the fact that MTGO is a PC based system, there's probably a pretty high chance that Wizards may release the information for the system and still allow people to play with it.
I definitely agree with that, but at the
But
same
then again, Wizards is definitely rules mongers.
right, but at the same time, MTGO is a product that's based on people playing the game and being
True.
online at the time that you're looking to play a game. So if they're going to split their time between having people play MTG Arena versus MTGO, it's really in their best interest to focus on MTG Arena, which is what they're shoving most of their money and development
True.
into.
True.
So anyway, yeah, that's just speculation for the digital market as we move forward.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to another topic, a very relevant topic, a very recent topic. Let's head into the Spike Pit.
Oh no. That always hurts.
Well, hopefully less than last week, but
I hope
um,
so.
here in the Spike Pit, we wanted to start talking just straight up Pro Tour Ixalan. Let's get it going. Um,
I
First
mean,
off,
so much good happened, right?
right. Well, let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way. Teamer Energy was everywhere. It was
Oh
the most
gosh.
played
Don't
deck.
forget about four color energy too.
True. Four color energy, Teamer Energy was definitely the most prevalent decks in the format.
Yes.
Um, and then as we will see later, obviously there was Sultai Energy, but energy, 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 and more energy everywhere. Um,
I mean, even the non-energy decks were playing with energy.
right? Why not run Ether Hub in your mono white aggro deck, which
Whoa, or the red decks even ran stuff like that too.
Right, right, right. But also, well, red decks will run possibly Harness Lightning too. But if you do get the mono white aggro decks had a 100% conversion rate from day one to day two, meaning all of them that began in day one made it to day two, which is flippin' fantastic if you
That's
ask
pretty
me.
good, yeah.
Oh yeah, and Craig Wesco would be very proud, but the fact that none of them got beat out, it's amazing. It's just so cool, and it speaks to the fact that there is room for innovation of new decks, that
Yeah.
you wouldn't necessarily think of. Um, going against the grain, not playing Team or Energy seems like a pretty bad idea, but there's hope.
Yeah, there
There's
is.
really hope. Yeah. And well, then let's just go ahead and talk about a couple other decks that were prevalent in Pro Tour Ixalan. We have
I see a lot of ramen op red,
definitely a lot of Ramen Op Red too.
but
Yes.
then there's some interesting, like definitely some interesting decks that made it in that just didn't get a lot of play or get seen. So I apologize. I talked to Sean about this earlier. I was wrong. It looks like there was about four tokens decks that were
Oh,
in the Pro Tour.
the Abzan token builds.
Yeah, or Orzov splashing green.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, this one that did pretty well is running Argel's Bloodfast in the main.
There you go. Get that from the vault flip action going, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So a lot of cool decks here getting played. Of course, I like token builds, so of course I like Abzan tokens.
Mr. Anointed Procession himself, Greg Reynolds.
I have parallel lives.
Right. Yeah, in standard. Good luck.
Hey, there's
Um,
also a doubling season out there too.
okay. Okay. All right. But back to Pro Tour Ixalan. Um, I was super excited to see Guillaume Matignon on his Jeskai approach deck playing a Locust God. I mean, you've seen Scarab God to death, and we
Oh
still
yeah.
haven't seen Scorpion God. But the fact that the Locust God not only got play but got camera time multiple times was amazing. I think this God is definitely powerful, especially in a deck where you're drawing lots of cards,
Do you think
trying
he
to
might be
fend off
going
attacks.
places?
What's that?
Do you think he might be going places?
I think he might be going places. No,
Okay.
I think he might just be going in this Jeskai approach deck.
All
I
right.
don't really foresee too many other people playing him in other decks. But also the fact that it's Jeskai lets him play Harness Lightning,
Yeah.
which is, yep, I think it is the best instant speed removal spell we have in Standard right now. Uh,
Whoa. I don't know.
well,
Destroy. Like Vraska's contempt's really strong,
true, which costs double the mana,
and
but
we're
also
not
hits
playing an
Planeswalkers.
aggressive format right now.
It's kind of weird, kind of
Because
interesting
like
how you
even
may
the
put
Ramanov
that.
red deck, it feels like it's aggressive, but one board wipe and it's dead, and you have a slow wait.
Well, that's also true, but what's better at handling a long tusk cub?
True.
I mean, it also depends on when you draw it. Late game, yes, Frascus and Temp's good, but if you do get that Harness Lightning turn two, you see that cub, you want to plug it before they get a chance to cast their own Harness Lightning and make it even bigger.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this Jeskai approach deck, adding red to an already known blue-white approach deck, really sort of adds a lot of value and staying power to it. So kudos to Guillaume for running this deck. I think it's great, a fresh take on a deck that we've seen quite a bit of already. Also, let's let's actually take a look at the finals here because these are two decks that we well, most of us didn't necessarily see coming in the finals of Pro Tour Ixalan.
True.
We have Pascal Maynard on White Blue God Pharaoh's Gift.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. 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 I'm doing half my victory dance right now because I absolutely love God Pharaoh's Gift and the fact that it's not even running Gate to the Afterlife.
Did you notice that it's actually running Sacred Cat?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Sacred Cat played
And
a pivotal role.
that Search for Escanta doesn't. It's not a bad card either.
Oh, no. I mean, you look at the top card of your deck, it's Godfarrow's Gift. I'm putting it in the graveyard.
And then
I
you
look at
refurbish.
Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So definitely ditching the whole Gates of the Afterlife plan, running refurbish. It seems a little bit more resilient, a little bit more consistent, because when you're running a Gates of the Afterlife deck, your entire strategy revolves on getting those creatures into the graveyard so that you can actually get your Godfarrow's Gift.
Correct.
But when you're only having to run, a refurbish, granted you have to look for a whole separate card. There's no tutoring involved. It might be a little less consistent, but when you're running cards like Sacred Cat, that extends the life of your deck by turns. When you can block that 8/8 Long Tusk Cub with a 1/1 lifelink, that extends your game by another turn or two, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So definitely loved seeing this Godfarrow's, and of course it's reanimating, I should say, pseudo eternalizing the Angel of Invention. Bringing it back to gain you a bunch of life, maybe pop out a couple tokens, buff the rest of your team, and it's definitely running the 4 Champion of Wits, kind of a key card in these Godfarrow's Gifts deck builds. Minister of Inquiries, another key piece, and Sacred Cat. Just a fine, phenomenal build here. Very, very clean. Exactly what you want in a Godfarrow's Gift deck, taking it to second place overall. Only to the winner of Pro Tour Ixalan, Seth Manfield, running the deck that I wanted to see win it all per our last episode, Sultai Energy.
Yeah. You got your wish, man.
It was not only a phenomenal deck, a phenomenal showing, a great player in Seth Manfield, but you got to see the power of my favorite card in this whole deck, which is Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Because in Game 5, Seth Manfield dropped double Glint Sleeve Siphoners and drew all the cards, putting him way over the top and able to close out the game with decisive action. I mean, I love this guy. Combined with Winding Constrictor, it's nigh unstoppable. It's better than Bob, better than Dark Confidant. Just amazing.
So I got a question for you.
Yes.
How do you feel about that 3 of Deathgord Scavenger in the sideboard? And that 2 of Nissa Steward of Elements?
Well, let me tell you, Pascal Maynard did not like seeing those Deathgord Scavengers one bit. I think that card is a wonderful, wonderful addition to the sideboard. I mean, obviously it doesn't have much run in the main deck, but it's a 3-drop that hoses any graveyard-based decks. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this card is, definitely going to be a huge player in decks moving forward. Probably sideboards mostly, because other than just being a 3/2 for 3, it just essentially says in its text, hose graveyard.
Wait, is that like Scavenging Ooze?
It's like Scavenging Ooze, yes. It costs 1 more, but it enters the battlefield, takes something out of the graveyard, which is huge. That's so good. It's like playing your Scavenging Ooze and then tapping 1 as it's coming into play.
Yes.
Regardless if it's a creature, it's still going to be a 3/2. It doesn't gain you any life, whatever. But it's so good.
It's really good.
Yeah. And then Nissa, Steward of Elements. Scry 2. I mean, what more do you want? That's just...
jeez. That allows you to control your top deck for that Search for Escanta.
Yes. There's so much card draw, card selection.
Yeah.
Like, this deck is so good.
You know what it's missing?
What's missing?
It's missing that 1 drop that you reveal, and it turns into the 3/2 flyer that I can't remember its name. There's an
Oh,
entire deck focused around it in
wait, you're
Modern.
talking about Delver of Secrets?
Yep.
That's such. If Delver of Secrets were legal, sure,
This deck
sure,
would
you'd be
play it.
running.
Yeah.
Oh my god, oh my god. Since I'm on TCG Player looking at this deck right now, if you hover over Forest, do you know what Forest pops up?
It's unstable.
That's unstable. Oh my god.
Yeah,
These
because
things look so good.
pre-orders went live today for that for most places. So all right, not getting too far away. There is one other thing that I wanted to bring up that I'm really kind of excited about from the Pro Tour, and
Yes.
that is Samuel. You want to pronounce the last name?
Samuel I Islandfelt. Samuel Islandfelt.
Okay, playing his Mardu Vehicles deck to a third place win with no Pro Tour points previously.
Oh, such a good story.
Yeah.
Such a good player. I mean, this guy came out the gates, qualified for the Pro Tour. First Pro Tour ever, comes and takes third place. Not just makes top 8, but takes third place.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
This is definitely one of those stories that everybody wants to hear about because guess what? He went from the base to the top.
Yep.
Did you notice in his sideboard he has a planes?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
That seems kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, he's running 3 in the main and
Yeah.
then 1 in the sideboard.
Sometimes you just need a planes.
How bad do you want to be able to cast that Dusk Dawn? You want to cast Dusk on turn 4. You want those planes. So, why not?
Yeah.
Um,
But anyhow, what it is just I'm so excited to see somebody in the top 4 that essentially did not get there by people scooping to him, people just giving him the win. This guy fought it. He fought it all the way from the bottom and got there. And
yep.
good on you.
Yep.
Congratulations. You are the working man hero.
Exactly. Exactly. And I know from listening to another cast, Magic the Amateuring, that this guy is from Minnesota. And Maria Bartoli of the coverage desk was definitely pulling for this guy. And it was so much fun to watch. Like, this is just a storybook, Cinderella story. Samuel Islandfelt, good on you. You're an inspiration to us all. I mean, I know I myself have never even come close to qualifying for a pro tour, but the fact that it's possible for somebody to make it and
Yeah.
then not only top 8 but finish third is it's so inspiring.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was awesome. And then couple other things that I just wanted to mention. I watched a ton of coverage of this over the weekend, all 3 days, and I managed to see a deck tech where they interviewed Patrick Chapin on his red-white approach to the second sun deck. And the main thing I wanted to pull out here was the fact that when you go into his sideboard, and he was very excited about this, but in his sideboard he's running Tocatli Honor Guard, the 1 and a white 1/3 human that whenever it negates creatures entering the battlefield effects. So creatures entering the battlefield do not cause effects to trigger.
It's the Nega Panharmonicon.
Exactly. It's torpor orb on a creature.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, we actually talked about this, I want to say 3 or 4 episodes ago when we talked about how to fight energy. So it's obvious that Patrick Chapin listens to the Win Condition podcast. I don't know what other evidence you need. That's just set in stone right there. No, but in all honesty, it was so awesome to see at least somebody trying to run tech against energy. I know there was a lot of harsh mentor out there as well, but Tocatli Honor Guard was so exciting to see that. Can't even begin to describe that.
It's good to see somebody using another card to deal with a problem because so far as recently, most people just whine and cry and then it gets banned.
Right. right? They're like, oh, Banatune with Aether. It's so powerful. It does like 17 million things in one. Well, you know, just granted, yes, okay, energy is powerful, but at least try to run some stuff in your deck that will take
Deal
care of
with
it, that
it.
will counter it.
You know, like I don't know, there's like 5 cards that really just deals with it.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, you saw God Pharaoh's gift deck make it to the top. Okay, granted, there's draft involved, there's a whole bunch of other factors involved, but whatever. The fact that I don't even know what the percentage is. Like, it had to have been at least close to 40% of the field showed up to Pro Tour Ixalan with some variant of energy.
Yeah.
And
It might even be more than that.
more than that, sure. But if half of those people came with some sort of a different deck, then I guarantee you the saturation of energy in day two would be different. It
Oh
would
yeah.
be, okay, if less people were playing, obviously the numbers would be different. But the point is that just settling on the best deck, the quote unquote best deck, doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to make it all the way and win the tournament. Like just okay. All right, I'm getting a little heated here. Um,
Breathe,
gr-
relax.
Okay, before we leave this, another piece of tech that I actually learned about just this week is the fact that, and this I learned from listening to Monday Night Magic. Vizier of Many Faces was showing up in a lot of sideboards of a lot of decks, and I did not know this, but Vizier of Many Faces is so popular because if you copy the Scarab God or the Locust God or any of the Hour of Devastation gods for that regard, it also inherits the clause when this creature dies at the end of turn, return it to your hand.
Yeah.
Even though it enters as a copy of that creature and then goes to the graveyard, it still retains that effect of coming back to your hand at the end of your turn. So for 4 mana, you get to play your own Scarab God, and if they for whatever reason kill it, it gets to come back to your hand at the end of turn,
Yeah.
which is amazing. Not to mention the fact that it can copy things like Torrential Gearhulk or Glorybringer or any other big powerhouse card that your opponent may drop. It's just a good card. So
There
yeah.
was a card called Clever Impersonator that I ran because I was able to Ugin emblem and then drop an Ugin. This does very much the same thing.
Yep. Good old Khans of Tarkir. Love me some Clever Impersonator.
Oh, that card's so good. I
Yeah.
need some foil ones.
All right. So, that kind of
Rounds
out
out.
a little bit of our Pro Tour Ixalan here. But before we get too far, I want to take us into a brand new segment. I want to take us deep, deep into
The crusty.
the crusty salt mine. So here in the salt mine, we are gonna air our grievances. We're gonna talk about stuff that doesn't necessarily doesn't rub us the right way. Um, and so since we're still fresh off of Pro Tour Ixalan, one thing that really kind of irked me, and this actually has to do a little bit with coverage, also a little bit with just Magic, being broadcast in general. In round, I believe it was 14, so there were still 2 rounds to go. There was a covered match. The feature match was Sigrist versus Turtenwald, and Sigrist won the first game. Turtenwald won the second game, and at the end of the third game, it looked like Sigrist was going to take it. It was a decisive victory. They played it out, and even at the very end, when Sigrist extended his hand, and Turtenwald reached out and shook it. And the announcers were like, okay, well, Sigrist wins. Great job. Turtenwald loses. Let's move on. But then they came back to the booth and were like, wait, okay. So actually, what happened was Sigrist offered an intentional draw to Owen Turtenwald. All right, on to the next thing. And I was like, wait, what? what just happened? And then they go on to interview Mike Sigrist afterwards, and they don't even mention this. And,
Yeah.
and speaking as somebody who's never played at a professional level, let alone never ID'd or intentional drawed with anybody, I was just like, okay, wait, you guys aren't even gonna talk about this? Like, what happens? What are the ramifications? What are the benefits? Like, what does an intentional draw mean? Because if you're somebody who's tuning in when, and this happened on Saturday night when there were 30,000 plus viewers, and they were like, oh, there was an intentional draw. Like, who knows what that means? A very small percentage of people who are actually watching this, and for the
I
people who
do.
don't know, they didn't explain anything about
Oh
it.
no, no. I mean, if you don't know what an intentional draw is or anything like that, usually an intentional draw at professional level events is so that both players can get into top 8, top 16, top 32, top 64, day 2, whatever it may be. It makes their numbers better if they both draw instead of one of them winning, one of them losing. So this way they can both get in.
Right.
And this tends to happen more in later matches than not. Now, the only thing is that even with intentional draws and things like that, they've been asked when there's going to be an ID and it's going to be on screen that they do the ID and then they play out their matches. But it's just
I mean, it would have helped, like you said at the beginning, or even at the end, if they gave a little bit more information as to what was going on, because when it looks like Sigrist wins, and then they show his record, and there's a draw in the record, it's like, uh, I what just happened? Now, I understand there are tactical advantages to
yeah.
helping your friends further their own, records within the tournament, and it's great that Sigrist and Turtenwald are buddies. That's
Um,
awesome.
you know,
But
I had an event. I'm sorry, this is salty for me. This is old news, but Shahar Shenhar. I don't know if you've ever heard that name.
oh yeah, two-time world champion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He played at a local event where I was at, and he got to the finals of that event without playing a single game. It
What?
was 8 rounds, and he didn't play a single game, and he got into the finals.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So this is a player getting there without playing. That's not cool.
Yeah. I mean, do you think Samuel Eilenfeld was ever offered an intentional draw to further his own game? Probably not.
During the pro tour,
During the Pro Tour, yes.
probably at least once.
You think he did?
Probably, because I mean, when you're playing Magic at a professional level event, you're not just playing the game. You're paying attention to your breakers. You're paying attention to this. There's that. There's a lot of things you're paying attention to. So there's a lot of numbers going around in people's heads trying to figure out where they need to be to get what they need to be. So
True.
some of them just know and understand. It's like, oh God, this guy's doing really good. I'm at a point where I should offer a draw because if I lose, I'm really wrecked. But if I draw, you know, at least I
Yeah.
get in.
And I understand that there are benefits and advantages to intentional draws, whether, whoever you may be. But the bottom line is, I think like if they're going to show a match that results in an intentional draw, that they need to do a little bit better job of explaining what's going on and why that's happening. So if people do, end up pursuing Magic and going on to play at a competitive level, when something like that comes up, they'll be like, "Oh, I heard about this. It's a good thing. Let's do this." Or maybe I don't want to do this and I'm being intimidated. Let's just, skip it or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, so anyway, ugh, just a little bit salty about that. Didn't really appreciate seeing that without much, coverage on that front. Also, we mentioned a little bit about how stale standard has gotten and how there's a
Yeah.
lack of innovation going forward. Um, again, kudos to Patrick Chapin, but for the most part, I really just see a lot of people, especially when you go to Pro Tour and you have all these viewers and you're just jamming the same deck against the same deck. Um, I mean, if that's what you want to say about Magic, that it's all about just finding the best deck and playing it, then that's great. But I really think that they need to showcase a little more variety when it comes, excuse me, when it comes to streaming, when it comes to showcasing the game for everybody who's going to watch. I mean, do you agree, Greg, or do you think that it's okay for them to be like Teamer Energy versus Teamer Energy? These are the best players. This is what you're going to see.
You know, there's something that I made a point of a little while ago, something I was thinking about, and I think right now all these pro players aren't focusing on brewing or deck teching or designing new decks because Teamer Energy is so flexible in what it is, so nobody's making anything new. And I think that some of these pro players are incredibly distracted because they're probably on the alpha stress test for Arena.
They got other things on their mind aside
Definitely.
from brewing.
So they're just playing whatever they were playing, and it's still good. And the cards that we feel could be just beating up on energy aren't strong enough. I mean,
Hmm.
I didn't see a single Solemnity in the Pro Tour. Now, I didn't look at every deck list, but I haven't seen any. Have you seen any?
Nope,
But I'm
nope, and
pretty
I didn't
sure
see it.
that's a card that just screws over energy, but nobody's
Yep,
playing it.
yep. I saw some harsh
And
mentors, but I didn't see any Tecatli honor guards.
yeah,
um, And then also you mentioned Arena. Another thing that I'm mildly to mid-rangey salty about is the fact that I have a PS4, I have a Macintosh computer, and I have not been able to play a Magic digital product since Duels of the Planeswalkers before the most recent
that's
Magic
what, almost
Duels.
4 years ago now?
Yeah, I have my iPhone with a cracked screen that I am able to play it on. But I mean, please, come on. When we had Duels of the Planeswalkers, I was playing that constantly. Especially those puzzles that they would put out that
Oh,
you had to
yeah.
figure out. That was amazing. Like I learned so many new cards in the game of Magic the Gathering through playing Duels of the Planeswalkers. But then as soon as the most recent iterations came out, it's like, oh, you got a PS4? Can't play it. You got a Mac? Can't play it.
Yeah,
You want to
Duels did not have any support for anything.
you want to participate in the stress test for Arena? You got a Mac? Nope. Sorry, can't do it. So I actually downloaded. I went all Jeff Hoogland and I downloaded Hex for PS4. I've actually been playing Hex quite a bit. It's a pretty fun game. It's incredibly similar to Magic, but it's scratching my itch in the meantime until I actually get a playable version of Arena for Macintosh that I can run. And don't give me this. You can download a Windows client for your Macintosh and run it on Boot Camp or some crap like that. Like, give me a break. Get out of here.
No,
I want to be able to
that's
just
not an easy thing to do.
no, no, I don't want to have to go out and buy a Windows CD because I have a fully functioning, very high-powered Macintosh computer. It's just the fact that it cannot run the stinking PC-based products that you get. I understand. It's a stress test. All you're concerned about is logging people on, getting those numbers, and getting that stress test run. But I mean, it's
Come
just
on.
frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I mean, I was upset when they went to the Duels platform, and you know what? I have an Android tablet and I got wrecked too.
Yep,
And I was like,
yep.
really? And they stopped making it so it'll play on cell phones. So you get it on your iPhone. I don't get it on my Android phone though. Mm-mm.
Well,
So
I think
talk about exclusion.
yeah, I think the takeaway from this is the fact that we can't wait until Arena gets released and it's multi-platform and we can actually play it either on our consoles or on our computers or on our phones, what have you. Um, yeah. So anyway, just a couple
Or
things that
even
we're
our
kind of,
watches.
or even our watch. Oh my God, can you imagine trying to play duels on your watch? No, no. Why would you even say that? Oh my God, Greg. No,
Because it's
no.
worth a laugh.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Um, okay. All right. Well, anyway, let's close the book on the salt mine for now. And I think after that,
Uh,
I think we don't.
There was a couple things, weren't there?
Yeah, a couple
Yeah, a
things.
couple.
Number one, um, quick shout out. I really wanted to give a quick shout out to another podcast, If Lands Could Kill. They mentioned that we do a good job about sort of encapsulating the lore in bite-sized amounts that are you can listen to us and you understand what's going on in the story, which is a huge part about Magic the Gathering. But definitely just wanted to give you those guys a big thank you for mentioning us. I know I I actually listened to all you guys' episodes too. Incredibly funny, very hilarious, very explicit, but nonetheless entertaining. So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Always looking to build this community, throughout our Magic content creation. Yeah, really, really, really cool thing you guys are doing. So thank you for that. Um, the Win Condition podcast is brought to you by Flipside Gaming at flipsidegaming.com, where you can go and order any product, any gaming product, be it Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Star Wars, what have you.
Destiny.
Star Wars Destiny, exactly. And any order you make online over $10, you can use that promo code WINCONDITION in all caps and save 10% off your purchase and help contribute to our future show giveaways. I know we've given away an Invocation Kefnet. Now we've given away a Torrential Gear Hulk.
Yep.
And I'm sure there will be many more giveaways in the future.
Yeah.
So, hey,
Yeah.
Greg,
What?
where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at NoobSlasher2003.
And you can find me on Twitter at MTG_Sean. You can find the show at The Win Condition on Twitter. Or drop us a line, email if it's longer than, what is it now, 280 characters?
280 characters.
Oh, it's ridiculous. You can email us at thewinconditionpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our YouTube page. We'll throw a link in the show notes. And I think that's going to be it. Hey, Greg, have you finished or have you started to watch Stranger Things
No.
season 2?
No. Mm-mm.
All right. Well, I finished it this last week, and it was
Happy, disappointed.
It was better than I thought. I was
Okay.
halfway through the season. No, 3/4 of the way through, and I was thinking to myself, but in
It
the
got
end,
better.
they
Okay.
tie it together, and it is good. It is so good.
Are
Highly-
you excited for season 3?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Definitely a great show. If you're into 80s, you're into sci-fi, you're into horror, you're into Dungeons and Dragons, you're into nerdy stuff, definitely check it out. It's awesome.
Yeah. That's
Very,
a
very
pretty good one.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it. And
Yeah, I think that's it.
unless there's anything else, thank y'all for listening, and we will talk to you next week.